Okay. It's gonna be the least of all my worries that my ice maker's on the fritz, and I'm gonna have to order another one. Dwight actually bought me that ice maker, and so it lasted a while. I had like a couple of years. So things nowadays aren't built to last. But so I had to kind of pour like what I. It's one of those you can buy pre-made coffee jugs at the store and they had flavor, but I like it's too sweet for me, so I like to mix it in. So it's not only that, it's only that, and with like no ice, this like pathetic couple of little pebble cubes, and it has me irrationally upset. It's my comfort. I like during the show. I like to have a little treat. Yeah. Um. So today I woke up and like every day lately since Christmas, I've been crying a lot. So I try to take a bath. I have my time of the month. And I try to treat myself to like bath products and I try to make my feet all pretty and I get the um fancy products all bedubbed up. My mom always liked baths. I hate this thing. It always sticks to things. It sticks to your pantyhose. Anyway, it's not working. I sit in the bath. I cry. And here's the thing, right? If you were to ask me right now, so how would you like for your hand to be fucked up? Actually, Terry wrote me last night that in some ways it's better to be broken because you can heal in like 6 to 8 weeks, but your ligaments, it takes longer and the pain. And so I know I'm going to be with this pain a while. And man, it really hurts at times. Like, it hurts. Like, I can move this right now and it hurts, but like, um, I read that I'm supposed to be using ice on it, so I have to start trying to do that. Incorporating that into if that'll help. And anti-inflammatory, not everything is anti-inflammatory. Aspirin kind of is if you can handle aspirin or ibuprofen. I usually prefer Tylenol like when I have period pain, but I took aspirin today. Um anyway, the thing is that if you were to ask me that, like, so do you want to have this pain? I would say, are you crazy? Course not. Like, I don't want this at all. Like, yeah, but you did it though. It's like, yeah, that's I did, didn't I? Like, isn't it horrible? S- isn't it crazy to do that to yourself, to hurt yourself like that? Yeah, but like right now in this exact moment, I'm not gonna do that right as I sit here right now. So you see, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm sitting in the bath and what the heck? What? Brett, Brent, but Brent, I'm talking about suicide. It's like read the room. I don't know if you need braille or dubbing or yeah, overdubbing or something, but headphones on because I'm about to say something quite serious. It's like the fact that the pain got so intense that I literally like busted the fuck out of my own hand that I'm dealing with terrible pain that I can't even like, it just made everything worse. And so I think to myself, "Stella, you're sitting here, you're crying, you're very fragile." Every day, right, since Christmas, right, it's been worse. And, um, mm, I'm afraid. So I started thinking, "W should I put myself in a 5150 hold?" Because I know that place in Indio or Loma Linda, like, that they wouldn't take me before once, and I couldn't stop shaking, and I wanted to know, um, if someone could help me. And it was actually after the revenge porn. Losing my channel and all that, but anyway, and they wouldn't take me because they thought I had, like, neurological problem, but I don't. I have, I have, trauma, so, um, so I thought to myself, first of all, I need to put my pet somewhere. Second of all, I don't know if they'll take me. And third of all, I don't know if doing that to myself will cause more trauma because you put yourself in their hands completely. Like you submit yourself like a prisoner. And and I had to consider if that's what's best for me because the thing is, you can sit here and get really dark. All right. I have OCD as one thing, right? Obsessive compulsive disorder. There's a D, right? So I will obsess compulsively about how many millions of people robbed me, hurt me. And I'm so sick of the people that say like, "Oh, I wouldn't put anything out there." If you looked at it, you're just as culpable, just as culpable. Like you're partaking in my robbery. Not you. I'm speaking in general. I'm saying like I get these messages. And it's like I'm not even those people that are saying that. I don't think that they did that, but I'm saying in a whole bigger scale than you realize. I feel very violated. And I'm thinking back all this pain, all this trauma, and then seeing names and comments and you want it down and you can't get down. And then I'm thinking, even if and when eventually the this ones get taken down, how am I gonna live with knowing that this was done to me? How am I gonna live with knowing that people many people are capable of doing it to me? It's like I said once, maybe I should upload that video, right? One of my old lives from like 2018. The Iceman cometh. People need their delusions. Like I needed my delusion that you got a struggling woman who's lost her mom with a broken back, who's y- you're sifting through the videos of her looking for her like the clearance meat. I that maybe I needed my delusion that this isn't the world. And it's not like even the 6 million people on that site. I'm one of them. I had to make an account to know all the people that did this to me. Well, not all the people, just on that one site, but you know what I mean. So there has to be some people that's not even any port, right? Because I'm not. So anyway, all this to say, I made an appointment with my regular doctor tomorrow because I want to confess to her everything. The thing that I don't think I ever told you is that whenever I have to deal with a doctor or maybe you take for granted how often you get asked what you do for a living, but like when I had to get the physical therapy for my broken back and stuff, and they say, "What do you do?" And I say, which is true, I do sell makeup. I've been trying to make ends meet by trying to sell um what's it like Avon? So Avon sellers that were getting out of the business, I buy their old discontinued Avon makeup for cheap and I try to sell their Avon makeup on eBay. Mostly things like that or shades of foundation that weren't hot sellers, so they clearance them to me and I try to sell them. Things like so I say, "Oh, I sell makeup on eBay." Because I'm too embarrassed to say I do OnlyFans. Because I think that people would um there's that person that I'm saying that to may carry their own baggage about that. Like like the last like 6 or 7, 8 videos you just saw on my channel here that weren't lives, those are OnlyFans videos. So, and, like, I think that it always hurts too when, um, you guys weren't around for this if you weren't on OnlyFans, but I got this product. Maybe I could upload that live. I'll see if I'm not flashing in it at all. But I I got this spa like bath product, but I think it was supposed to be for like a pool or something. So I pour it all in, like this eucalyptus. The fumes of it did something to me in my brain. And it's so crazy because the last thing I did is to take a picture of like my body, my like artistic photo of the body and the bubbles. And that's the last that anybody saw of me for like a day or two when people were scared. And then when I came on the live and I had just got woke up, I had passed out and hit my head. I heard voices. I was in tunnel vision. I thought I was gonna die. My heart was like it was really, 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 really bad. Like I like overdosed in fumes from this. It was really scary. But anyway, one person wrote it was Edward. It's just someone. He's like, you don't call for an ambulance for an OnlyFans girl. And I just always felt it was like the word OnlyFans girl means like loser, nothing. Like to some people, you're like the scum of the earth. So, so I haven't told anybody, and I haven't told my doctor that about the revenge porn or even about the rape. And I like when I talk to her tomorrow, I want to tell her, I want to come clean. I want to say, look, this is what happened to me, okay? And I don't know how to process it. I feel like I'm doing every technique you're supposed to, like, or that I think you're supposed to breathe, meditate, try to talk to people. I would talk to you like you have no idea. Like, I'd be up late if I didn't know that y'all have to work, y'all have to go to sleep. I love to be talking to some of you at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, like, I'm a wreck. But I try to, even right now, talking to people, like, but I'm afraid that what if something else happens and I get to the point where this happened that it wasn't supposed to? Because I could tell you right now, no, no, I don't want this. But what happens when the pain feels so unbearable and you snap and you think all it takes is a very short amount of time to do something so stupid that in the moment feels like the only relief. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't want that. And I don't want that. Like right now, I don't want that. I don't want that. But I'm trying to protect myself in the future because the way that I'm going has not been good. And I feel like medical professionals, like you can say all you want therapy because some, by the way, that's why I titled the stream MG. Uh, 'Cause Marco has got money for the first. Cause we're gonna start this book once we finish this one. Anyway, um, where was I? Why did I grab this book? Oh, yes. You can go to school and be like, yes, I read this book from 1984 and it tells what it's like to be used, exploited, and robbed by millions of men. No, it did not. No, it did not. Like, help me. Help me comprehend these and um give me some tools so that I can be safe. Safe when I'm alone in my thoughts, trying to do the things like that I'm supposed to do. Feed the dogs, take out the trash, pick up the car. Maybe tomorrow. They still didn't get the part yet. Otherwise, you would have been seeing me well, on OnlyFans. You would have been seeing me getting that car. But so I'll tell you guys how that goes on OnlyFans tomorrow because you guys always go with me. But it's a matter of I feel at this point it's been like how many days and to be still declining, even though I'm trying my best. And I see just like the weirdness, like I'd be dropping things and bumping into things. Like this ice maker thing, I just started crying. Like there's no ice, and I just start weeping. Like, of course not. Like it's like sounds so stupid, but it's like, why? I laugh now because I'm here with you guys, like feels safer. At first I didn't for a little while, but I do now because I see people familiar and everything, and it makes me happy. But anyway, that was my day. That's where I'm at today. I'm genuinely making the effort to get better. I don't know the rule book handbook for how to deal with something like this. Uh, I can guarantee you all these men that have done this to me don't know, haven't had it done to themselves. Not that I would ask them because they clearly don't have my best interest at heart at all. And I think about them, and I think about them a lot. Like, why did you do this to me? And I want to stop. Get out of my head. That Ashley Simpson song. Get out of my head. Get out of my head. That's how I feel. Um, so I'll tell you what my doctor says tomorrow. Hopefully a referral. Um, and I'm gonna tell her, don't give me a bullshit referral. Like I want I'm sick of the people that don't help and have no knowledge. Like I get if you're like a layman person that you claim I have Tourette's because you don't know. I don't have Tourette's. I've been to a neurologist. I don't have Tourette's. Um, it's actually very rare late in life, meaning outside of your childhood before the after the age of like 10, later onset, meaning um to get that. Maybe if you were like in an accident. I wasn't in an accident. Um, I've had trauma, serious trauma. It does messes with your head, the pain. So but I had this one psychiatrist that wouldn't talk to me. She said, "I have to go to the hospital right now, and I have Tourette's, and she can do it." And it's like, because I'm shaking and I have this trauma. It's like, and you're a therapist, and like, and I'm supposed to like respect this profession. That, so I feel like I need specific. Like it's when I try to look at YouTube videos of like therapists, like for help. Sometimes I feel like writing them. Like I don't know. It seems like stupid and and I have insurance, but it's like, will somebody help me get better? I don't trust therapists. I don't trust a lot of them either. I feel like it's like sacrilege to say that nowadays. How dare you question like the Lord of God has spoken upon them by granting them this degree and like no, I don't think I bet you, even though I know like I'm a little fucked up crazy, you let me talk to you for a few hours, I would genuinely listen, give everything I got in my head to like feel your problems and really like in there. And I will help you more than a therapist. And I don't have a degree, I just care. Like, yeah, if I see the empathy for you, I'll just care. I can't help it, especially if I feel like you care about me at all. And I feel it'll be better than a therapist, but I've seen them just not care. And I have to go over, oh, being abused as a child, um, all that, being raped, like, yeah. And then while somebody just like, yep, anything else, yeah, like it's like it's traumatic. I don't want to waste all your time before I get into the reading because I really want to finish this and start the next book. But that has been my day. Yeah. But yeah, tomorrow with the doctor, I'll let you know how that goes. And I'm making a step toward getting help. Hello from Colorado. How you doing in Colorado? It's cold. Yeah, a lot of them don't listen. They just want their clock in. They just want their paycheck. They just want their insurance. My finger. They just want their copay, insurance coverage. Putting both books over there so I can get right into it. I don't know if I need this water. Anyway, as of right now, I'm not on the verge of anything crazy. I'm very happy to be here with you right now. I've been sad and I'm trying to get help. Um, I I will say this. In my darkest time, I've thought of you guys. And it's that's that hand up. It's that hand up that you need. It's that when I think um like the John got like that TV coming for me tomorrow and just just all the ways that the help, the messages, it, at the end of your life, you could say that I got further and I survived longer because of you. Where the other people, they could say, wow, I almost killed a girl. And hopefully they don't succeed. Um, so you're on the right side. Okay, let me get this because I don't have any pen. Share. Last chapter of this book, but we will definitely do part two when it comes out. Of course. Ooh, where's my wiener? All the way back here. Excuse me. You are needed at the front of the class. Okay, calling you guys. Uh, you know what I love about Cher as we're ending this book? Everybody loves a comeback, and Stella will have her comeback again and again and again and again. Okay, so we're on page, I believe, 393, and there are, let's see, 411 pages. Not much to go. and then we begin the new book. So yeah, pulling you guys up. I'm sorry, but I just pulled on my chat and there was an ad and I was mesmerized because it was some woman like showing some like various boxes of Domino's. I don't know what the hell was inside, but it was not pizza and it looked disgusting. So I don't know what the hell they've come out with. I gotta look at their menu and see what the hell's going on with that. I should ask Darth Tamarius because maybe he's seen it in Vegas. She was on Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, really? She said she hadn't started the second book. Are you for real? Girl, get to work. Okay, here I am. Oh, okay, here we go. So she had done this like Egyptian house, and remember she was dating Gene Simmons. Okay. We didn't do so much as kiss at first because I didn't want to yet. I've always felt that I don't want to sleep with someone until I'm sure I'll be happy to wake up next to them the next morning. Sure. I don't want to wake up next to someone I can't talk to, or worse, who I don't like. So Gene and I got to know each other. We talked, we walked. I even took him jogging on the beach. He called me puppy and surprised me for my birthday with I love you, Cher, written in the sky above the Beverly Hills Hotel before a full choir and a marching band marched into our bungalow, through our hotel room and back out. If that weren't enough, he rented an army tank, filled it with my favorite chocolate bars, Snickers. Snickers? I'm sorry. Why choose Snickers when Milky Ways exist? Reese's peanut butter cups exist, and you can put them in the freaking fridge, and when they get cold, and you can like pick. I'm sorry, but who picks Snickers? If she just said Butterfinger, I'd slam this book into the wall. And had us driven down Sunset Boulevard to Le Dome Restaurant, where friends, family, and circus acts were waiting. Actually, my favorite is Kit Kat. When I used to go to Cold Stone before it costed $8 million for a gotta have it size, um, I would do Kit Kat mixed with banana. You had one earlier. Okay. You know, the Kit Kats, I hear, like, in Japan, they always have, like, weird, like, new flavors. Like, just to be random, like, "Oh, there's, like, ramen noodle Kit Kats." And I heard this horrible thing once, and I hope it's not true, but it was how, like, if you go to Japan, all the dogs are puppies, which is, like, eerie because it's like, "Wait, what it's like if you went somewhere, like, if like, it's like the movie Midsummer. It's like if you went somewhere and there was no older people. And it's like, "Oh, wait a minute. What's going on here?" Except I don't know about Japan, but at least in America, it's not legal to euthanize the elderly, like maybe in Canada. But like anyway, it's the obsession with things that are new. It's like, so you want to have a Kit Kat that tastes like barbecue sauce just because it's new? I like the same old shit. It's Kit Kat, original, and perfectly awesome with me. Love to see Japan, can't deal with the food. I bet they'd stare at you too. Because some cultures, they have no problem, and I may be confusing with China or it could be both, but they have no problem staring at you if you look different. Like, and you have to take like a public transport or something, or I guess, and I guess they're known for having very good train system. But you just get stared at, and I can't like I'll you saw how I was with that Target lady where I'm like, "Buh, buh, 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 buh," like I I was like, I is there do trains have, like, poles in the middle, or am I thinking of buses? I would take the pole and start, like, banging my head aggressively into it, like, just just people staring at me like that. Like, I can't take it. I can't take it. I leap off like a No, can't. It's both. Children also loved having Genie around. He can I just say, I find this man disgusting, and every reference to him like, I had no idea that she dated Gene Simmons, and I know he had that show, Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, and I don't remember the name of his son, but I don't know if he dated Hannah Beth Markavoy, but he was always on her blog, um, and she was like a heavy drug addict. She was doing drugs with Demi Lovato. Meanwhile, she had a whole line of clothing called Sober is Sexy. Anyway, so there's just something weird about that whole family. But it's just this guy, he just kind of gives me like the creeps, and I don't know why. But yeah, Jeannie with Chad, I'm just like keep him away from her. He was kind of like a big kid. He was an excellent businessman and had created an incredible and successful image as the demon and built a massive merch empire. Years later, he'd built an entire extra building to hold all their merch, much of which he'd also designed himself. See, that's what I need, but just for my pantyhose. He was very proud of what he'd made. When he immigrated to this country, he still spoke with an accent. And with hard work, he and his bandmate, Paul Stanley, created a massively successful business behind their band. But you create something and then you're the prisoner of it. Being around kids, could just be the kid he was inside. He took Chaz to the movies, gave Elijah his first guitar, taught him how to swim, and gave him piggyback rides all over the place. Chaz was already a huge Kiss fan, so when Jean asked if she'd like to contribute to his solo single, Living in Sin, with me, she almost died of happiness. We became a merry band of travelers, especially after Jean set up my sister with Paul Stanley and they started dating. Well, maybe the way to some women's heart is through the kids, making the kid happy or feel at least um like included, you know. Gene enjoyed his time in Los Angeles, but it wasn't really his scene. There was press everywhere in this city, and especially everywhere else. Yeah, because wasn't he from New York? All this shit. Oh, when he came to America, he had an accent. Yeah, he had a Brooklyn accent, didn't he? Like all the other members. The makeup and clothes that make Kiss so recognizable also allowed them to have separation between when they were on as celebrities and when they were leading private lives. Dating me blurred the line because he'd want to go out with me as regular Gene, but then the press would be there. He didn't want to put on his persona when we went on dates. Oh, thank you, Terry. Fake Hollywood. In China, they'll walk through you and not think it's weird. That doesn't make any sense. They think you're holographic. Are you saying that you're so white and pasty that they think that you're just part of the sky? Oh, thank you, Ninja Machinist 89B. And you got a little fat hair feller there with a leaf and a like one of those old school sweatbands. And I appreciate that. I mean, there's so many people they bang into each other. Yeah. I do wonder what life is like in China. Like sometimes I wonder if some of them are sad. I mean, some of them must be very happy and have great lives, but some of them must be sad like anyone else, like in America and, anyway. China, if you're out there, we feel for you. Okay. I just want to get to the part where they break up. They'd all wear bandanas over their faces like cowboys when they went out without makeup. Gene was so sweet. It was interesting to watch how he changed. When he put on his kiss costume, one night he told me, Puppy, when I'm in my costume, I might get crazy and not treat you the same. What a stupid thing to say. What? like, like not even as a kink, but like, I don't even know. I asked him what he meant, and he said, Well, then I become the demon. Okay, I said, wondering what that meant. When he emerged from his dressing room, all dressed up, and marched across the room to loom over me like a monster and growl, I gave him a proper slap across the face and cried, Jeannie, what are you doing? Nothing, puppy, he replied, shrinking back. Good, because I'm not going to put up with it. When Gene recorded an album in England, he invited me to come out with the kids to visit. We stayed for a week or two. The recording studio was in the countryside, which was gorgeous, and there were two dogs that were so huge Elijah could ride on them. Gene was so loving with both Chaz and Elijah, and the three of them would play soccer together. He even stopped some recording sessions while we were in town so he could play with them and got them their own bodyguard named Eddie Belandis. Elijah would call him Eddie Bananas, and he'd get on the field and play with them too. It was so cute to see these large men like Gene and Eddie running around the field with little Chaz and Elijah and the dogs. In 1978, I wanted to record a rock album, branching out into the kind of music I like to listen to. But Neil Bogart, who'd launched the careers of Donna Summer and the Village People, said it would be better if they broke me out as a disco artist first. Everybody's doing disco these days, he assured me, even the Rolling Stones. Although I love to dance, I didn't think I was going to be a disco queen. I also worried that since I'd never done anything in the disco world, I wouldn't be welcomed into that community. I'd been searching for a place where I fit in with my music, but I wasn't sure if my exploring would come off to people as a kind of flavor of the month. So I said, "No fucking way." Well, I might have said it in my mind, but I didn't say it to Neil. I liked him and I trusted his judgment. He was a smart businessman and he loved music. That's the best combination. What kind of pet name is Puppy? Mhm. So I said, "No fucking way." Well, I might have said it in my mind, but I didn't say it to Neil. I liked him and I trusted his judgment. He was a smart businessman and he loved music. That's the best combination. Also, this was my first song with Casablanca Records, and Neil and I had a good relationship. So I wanted to be a team player and do this for him. I went along with his suggestion and recorded the album Take Me Home, produced by Bob Etsy. Once I recorded the title track, I felt good about it. We played the song back in the studio and everybody liked it. You kind of know when you have a hit because there's a feeling in the room. Sometimes the people in the room have the right instinct and sometimes not. In this case, we were right. The album reached number 8 on the Billboard charts and stayed there for 5 months. Dean came up with the concept for the album's cover, a photo of me in a gold bikini with large gold wings attached, complete with gold nipples, arm cuffs, and a headdress under a pleated gold cape. I look like a barmaid from Valhalla. At this time, I was also financially supporting my mother. She vacillated between being full of pride that I was living her dream and being frustrated that my work kept me so busy. She often told me she didn't want to rely on me. What she really wanted was for me to set her up in business. So, at the age of 48, she opened a store called Granny's Cabbage Patch in Brentwood, selling patchwork quilts and old brass beds. It was there that she met Craig Spencer, who was 1 year younger than me. She'd initially thought Craig would be a good match for G, who was single and had just left General Hospital in the hopes of getting bigger roles. I went out of town for a few days, and when I came back, G said, "Mom's going with Craig." And I said, "Where are they going?" And she said, "No, she's going out with Craig." And I thought, "Whoa, go mom." With Craig Spencer. She soon made Craig her business partner. It was nice to see her happy and in a loving relationship. Craig and I didn't get along in the beginning, but as the years went by, we became good friends and still are. Mom's store attracted a lot of press attention, but it was never solvent and soon began to lose money. As my business manager put it, Georgia's independence is killing you. My own independence felt good. Jean and I saw each other off and on, but most of my focus was on my career and my children. Eliza, Chas, and I moved out of the Linden house and to a small house in the Malibu colony, which is a group of homes that dates back to the golden age of Hollywood. We had a double lot with a swimming pool and a tennis court where Elijah would ride his tricycle. Chaz and Elijah each had their own rooms done the way they wanted. Elijah had a mini London bunk bed that was made of logs. We were really happy in that house. Elijah looked up to his big sister more than anyone else and called her dad because when he was little, we tried to get him to say chastity by breaking it down to him slowly in syllables. Chastity. And he'd say back, da dee da. It was hilarious, and Chaz has been da ever since. Elijah got the nickname General Fat Face because he was born so chubby. But the moment he started walking, he started running and he became like a string bean. If he ever did something naughty or got into trouble, which was near constant, he'd always hightail it to Chaz for refuge. They were so close, and I was happy they had each other because, like all working mothers, I worried about having to focus so much on my career. As it turned out, though, they loved being part of my career, especially going on tour. Elijah was always rambunctious. When he was just 9 months old, we rented a house in Hawaii, and I watched him crawl across the backyard. Let me see something. Up again. Hello. Okay. Elijah was always rambunctious. When he was just 9 months old, we rented a house in Hawaii, and I watched him crawl across the backyard over to a drain cover filled with leaves and mud, unfazed. Elijah thrust his hands into the gunk and started splashing it everywhere. I rushed over, told him to stop, and wiped his hands. 2 minutes later, that kid was right back there, plunging his hands in deeper. No, Elijah, I cried. It's dirty. I added, Sukio, because he had a Spanish nanny. There are bugs. Don't play with that, okay? I cleaned him up and moved him away again. Hardly a second went by, and that boy crawled directly back to the gunk. That's what little boys do. I saw videos of little baby boys crawling up out of their cribs, crawling up the walls. Like, what the hell? Um, I cleaned him up and moved him away again. Hardly a second went by, and that boy crawled directly back to the gunk, turned to face me, looked me straight in the eye, and put his hands behind his back to grab some more slime. Now I was annoyed, so I snatched him up and popped his behind. What? Furious, he glared at me, his big green eyes filling with tears. I set him down near me, but as soon as his knees touched the ground, he crawled off at a speed Chaz and I couldn't believe. We were trying our best not to laugh when he got to the gate, opened it, and crawled away. Chaz and I were staring after him, thinking, is this child kidding? Just like me as a kid, he decided he learned all he could from adults and was ready to set out on his own. Oh boy, my mom used I hope you have a child just like you. And he was. She wished him on me. Elijah was sweet too, though. He just marched to his own drummer. At maybe 2 years old, he sat down at the nail salon table next to me, put his hands out, and picked out a red polish he wanted for his fingernails. Truly his mother's child. Chas was always an angel and very mature for her age. She was a tomboy, preferring to wear only jeans and t shirts, rejecting anything too girly. I didn't care what she wore as long as it looked nice enough. She was always level headed and responsible. So I was surprised when I called into school one day by her principal, who told me my daughter was having emotional problems that were causing her to do poorly in school and suggested I bring her to a psychiatrist. Her words shattered me with their cruelty, and I wondered if they might be true. Thank goodness for Betsy Glasser, Chas's teacher, who'd been at the meeting and waited until we were out of earshot to tell me. It's not true. I'm Chas's teacher. I know. Furious, she said. This woman doesn't know Chas, and she doesn't have a degree in child psychology. You've got to get Chas tested right away. For what? A learning disability. That's what I think this is. And sure enough, a specialist diagnosed her as dyslexic, and she was sent to a special school that she hated. When I read some of the literature they sent me about dyslexia, I thought, oh shit, that's me. Dyslexia testing didn't exist when I was a child, and I never even heard the word until Chas's diagnosis. But it explains so much. The difference was that there were systems in place to help Chas that were never available to me. It felt like an old mystery had finally been solved, left over from my childhood. There was something else from my childhood that had never gone away. My first love, acting, my Dumbo dreams, my Cinderella hopes. Though I was performing on Sonny and Cher, I know that wouldn't add up to people thinking I could be taken seriously as an actress. I was right. I might have had an Emmy, but my friends had Oscars. Still, I remembered what my acting coach, Jeff Corey, had told me when I was a teenager about having talent, being me. I had competing thoughts about it. I could do it and be one rotten tomato, or I could do it and be great. For 5 years, I quietly tried everything I knew to break into legitimate acting roles, but I couldn't even get an agent to represent me for theatrical work. That was devastating for someone who'd been on the cover of Time magazine. All of my peers were at the top of their game, and I didn't want to beg. You can't ask people you're going to dinner with for a job. Yes, you can. I'm sure people do all the time. They'll ask their mom, their dad, their uncle. They'll ask those people to give their kid a job. If we were hanging out socially with agents or producers, I'd listen and gently express interest and ask what they were working on to see if there were any parts I could audition for, but there were never any openings. I wasn't even really saying that I wanted to be an actress out loud. And when I eventually asked David for his help, he told me, "Sweetheart, I don't have a way right now, and you don't want to make anyone uncomfortable or seem desperate." I didn't want to compromise him at all, but it's hard when people see you in a certain light and don't think you can do anything beyond that. I was used to that my whole life, but it didn't make it any less painful. Jack Nicholson did agree to help me meet Mike Nichols, who was directing him and Warren Beatty in the upcoming movie The Fortune. Jack made the introduction, and I went to Mike's office. Mike wasn't mean, but he said, "There are two kinds of women, and you're not the kind I need for this character." He was a gentle but blunt. There was no follow up comment like, "If there's another part for you in the future, Cher, I'll call." Nothing like that. It was a flat turn down. I was angry and upset, and I don't know where I got the balls because in a moment of my brazen self triumphing over my shy self, I stood up and told him, "I'm really talented, and one day you're going to be sorry." Yes, I said that to Mike Nichols. Am I supposed to know who the fuck Mike Nichols is? An Academy Award winning director. Then I turned on my heel and walked out. The next meeting I was able to get was with the producer, John Peters, about his upcoming movie, a remake of the classic film A Star is Born, which Sandy Gallin had told me was rewritten using some stories from my relationship with Gregory that he was familiar with from being my manager at the time. John sat in his office smoking pot, and when I got there, I realized he may have had an ulterior motive in agreeing to see me. And it was also a waste of my time because, in the end, his girlfriend, Barbara Streisand, co produced the movie and got the role. She did a great job, by the way. Then I was called in to see Ray Stark, a major producer and another champion of Streisand. Stark was in his 60s and married to the daughter of the late great comic actress Fanny Brice. The meeting was at his house, and the second I sat in my seat, Mr. Stark said, "Do you know why a taco is shaped like a pussy?" What? I immediately lost my hearing, which happens to me when I go into shock. He was a major producer, but everything in me screamed, "You've got to get out of here." I jumped up and said, "Oh God, I was ill this morning, but I wanted to have the meeting with you so badly that I came anyway." But Seymour revealed that he'd sexually assaulted her, and sadly, I wasn't the least surprised. And that meant going back on the road, an idea that truly frightens me because it would be my first time without Sunny. Knowing the show had to be a spectacle beyond what anybody had ever seen. We got to work creating it in Los Angeles. We hired Joe Layton, who came with the whole show already imagined, as well as the people needed to pull it off. It was genius. All we had to do was learn it. He had this idea to have male performers impersonating me. Bette Midler and Diana Ross. Bette and Diana recorded their voices beforehand. So you'd hear Bette's voice saying, "Cher, I'm on my way out," or Diana calling out, "Hi, girlfriend, I'm coming on stage." Then the impersonators walked out. J.C. Gaynor, who played Diana, and Kenny Sasha, who played Bette, were so incredible that friends of Bette and Diana would ask to come backstage after the show to say hello. Even they were fooled. I found my impersonator, Elgin Kenna, while watching an afternoon TV show and immediately made a call saying, I need that boy. He was the most talented female impersonator I'd ever seen. Sometimes I'd look over during the show and think I was looking in a mirror. You really couldn't tell who was who. It was frightening. I love that episode of Will and Grace when they think she's an impersonator and she's not. And then when she sings, and then he goes, oh my God. My debut performance was set for the Sahara in Reno at the summer of 1979. As I was getting ready backstage to perform to a sellout crowd, my old enemy, stage fright, crept into my head, and there was no one there to shove me on. Looking in the mirror as I did my own makeup, I thought, this is insane, Cher. You're never going to be able to do this. What were you thinking? Which is what I think lots of times before I go on stage. But there's no crying in show business. I recently hired a new assistant, a young woman from Ohio who'd been a dental hygienist named Deb Paul. Deb's sister, Monica, who we call Mons, had worked for Sunny and me on the road and then continued working for just Sunny after. Knowing that I was looking for someone, Mons had told me, I have a sister who can be your assistant. When Deb finally arrived, Monica handed her the phone book, said, good luck, and left. This kid with frizzy brown hair didn't know anything. Driving to California from Ohio, she packed her vinyl records under the rear window in direct sunlight, and they all melted. But she was game and she loved show business. Her first day on the job, she caught a glimpse of Jeannie in a pink bathrobe lumbering down the stairs and hid in the kitchen. Luckily, Deb was eager and fun, and we spent a lot of time together. It was Deb who was with me on my opening night, and despite having no previous experience in show business, she did a great job at keeping me from running off screaming. God only knows what Deb thought of this scared woman shivering in the dark as if she'd never stepped into a spotlight before. What she didn't realize, and few people really know, is how sensitive and nervous I've always been. It's a case of closing my eyes and jumping. Deb is still with me 45 years later, so I guess she's got me figured out by now. I can't recall whose idea it was for me to surprise the crowd by coming out as Laverne, but it was genius. Everyone was expecting Cher to appear in the spotlight in some amazing gown, but instead I came tottering through the crowd in my ridiculous heels, muttering to myself in that scratchy Brooklyn voice, which immediately broke the ice. Laverne was a familiar presence for the audience, hiding my nerves behind her character and giggling to myself about the pepperoni Deb had put in Laverne's purse for Italian good luck. I gave a short monologue and then went backstage for a quick costume change before emerging as they'd expected in a glamorous Bob Mackie triumph. Just as I started singing, though, the fire alarm went off, drowning out my voice, giving the audience a grimace. I quipped, I know I'm hot, but this is crazy. Someone managed to stop the bell from ringing, and the show went on. But then my goddamn mic cut out. When the sound eventually came back on, I told the crowd I knew Sonny was going to come here and screw this up. The laughter I'd missed filled the auditorium, and that's when I knew that I'd be just fine. That show was such a success that I agreed to my first residency at Caesar's Palace in Vegas and Lake Tahoe. as part of a 4-year deal. I also agreed to go to Atlantic City, Washington, D.C., and a bunch of other places. Some of my critics scoffed, but all I knew was that this act paid the bills and also people loved it. I broke Frank Sinatra's attendance record my first month playing Vegas on my own. My show was different from anything audiences had seen. Whether the people on my end of the industry thought I was a sellout or untalented, I didn't care. There was one critic who every year would write that I was on my way out. I finally told him, I'll still be here even after you're gone. I was right. Yes, she was. To help plug my records and the upcoming gigs, I booked the Dinah Shore show where I told the woman I'd first watched on TV as a kid that the older I got, the less nervous I was about failing in the eyes of the public. I was referring to playing the long game and how I developed a thick skin to some extent with all the changes in my personal life and the attention I'd attracted. Having weathered countless storms over the years, emotional and financial, I never knew what was going to happen next, but I did know I'd survived and discovered that nothing could break me unless something happened to my health or to my kids. I'd also come to appreciate that whenever I did something new, my fans might not like it and might wish I'd do something else, but they still liked me in the end. When Dinah inquired about the men in my life, I admitted that I picked strange people, but added that they were all special and unique. She couldn't help but agree. Then I was back on the road to debut the show in Las Vegas. One night after Frank Sinatra occupied the same stage, which seemed surreal, even though I toured before with Sonny. This tour was an entirely new experience. With Sonny, I'd throw out on my outfit each night and go on stage, then straight back to my hotel room after. Now I was learning right along with Deb all the things that went into a touring show, and it was so much fun. Deb and I would ride from LA to Vegas in the back of a limousine together. We'd wedge our Louis Vuitton trunks between the bench seats, throw some blankets and pillows on top, and sleep on it like a big limo bed. There was a pie place about an hour from Vegas, and we'd stop usually after dark, to have a slice of apple pie and a glass of milk. Then a guy named Angelo would meet us at the back door of Caesar's, and after all the luggage was unloaded, he'd sneak us in to see Sinatra do his last number. There was a specific way we had to be brought in because Sinatra didn't like any light to come into the theater while he was performing. He found it distracting. I didn't yet love Vegas, although it was the town that proved to be the one constant in my life for decades. Things were changing there too, as the era of the Rat Pack and the old school mafia faded. Innovative new buildings were sprouting along the strip. I found myself in good company with friends like Diana Ross playing at Caesars and the Eagles and Tina Turner performing nearby, too. Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson were also in town, so the whole place had a different vibe. My Take Me Home show had the brilliant comic Michael Keaton opening for us, who was one of the funniest people I had ever met. We also had five dancers, three backup singers, spectacular Bob Mackie costumes, all kinds of wild props, like a bucking bronco and a huge red shoe with a slide down the toe, as well as, of course, our impersonators, who allowed the impression of instantaneous costume changes In addition to their skill as dancers and overall performers, I changed into one incredible costume after another, sticking to my rule of never being in the same outfit for more than 10 minutes. We used Sonny's home movies of Chaz and Elijah as a backdrop and broadcast a tape of my mother's voice saying she always did want to be naked, as slides rolled of me scantily clad as a kid. Each night we did the first show at 8 p.m. and the second at midnight. I would fall asleep between them and wake up thinking, my God, how the hell am I going to do it all again? After the second show, the cast and crew would go somewhere to unwind. Sometimes it was Cleopatra's barge, which we called the D Cup, in honor of the waitress's breastplate uniforms. Deb would go early to scout the scene beforehand and use their staff only red telephone to report back. Other times it was to an all night club to dance, in which case we'd have to remind one another to bring sunglasses for when we'd finally emerge hours later into the blinding morning sunlight. Even though everyone made fun of me, thank God there was no social media back then. Our record breaking show was one of the hottest tickets in town. Mama came once to see it and asked for a little brandy to enjoy while she watched it. She kept having more and more brandy until she was plastered. We took her up to her room, but she wanted to go down and gamble, so I said, Deb, take her shoes, so she couldn't leave. She got so angry and yelled at Deb, Deborah, I want my shoes. Deb said no, and Mama started whacking her with her purse. Our crew and I became so emotionally attached that they felt like family, and many of them remained with me for years and years. That made it all the more heartbreaking when AIDS came along later and claimed the lives of Kenny Sacha and so many lovely friends, including my dancers, Michael Peria, Peter Tram, and Randy Wander. They were all in their 30s when they died. I went to so many bedside farewells and nearly killed me. After my Vegas run, we played the Kennedy Center Opera House in Washington, D.C., which turned out to be interesting for the wrong reasons. At rehearsal, I noticed a lot of security guards hanging around, and although we were in the political heart of America, I thought that was strange for a Cher gig and asked my new agent about it. Billy Samuth was a junior agent and was known by all as Bumper. He shrugged and said, oh, this is how they work. They like to give people extra security at the Kennedy Center. The gig began, and as often happens, a teenage boy ran up and tried to jump onto the stage. Within seconds, there were armed police and FBI agents around him, like a swarm of bees. They pulled him off so violently that I shouted at them, he's just a kid. It seemed like such an extreme reaction. After the gig, the FBI continued to follow me around, going everywhere I went. Nervous, I asked Bumper what was going on, but he brushed me off again. Wanting to do my own thing, I told him I was going to get some ice cream. But the agents still followed me. They finally lost me when I made a left down a street that had a dress shop I liked. When I got back to the hotel, shopping bags in hand, everyone was very anxious. Bumper finally had to explain that someone had contacted the Kennedy Center before my gig and told them that he was going to shoot me. Well, I guess they missed their chance. That Christmas, I went to Aspen with Polly, G, Chaz, and Elijah, who was 3 by then. To begin with, we rented a condo, but later I bought our beloved peeled log cabin with its huge fireplace. Going to the cabin for the holidays would become a tradition. I'd make all the food and we'd all decorate the place. And each year we'd have a Christmas cookie competition that I'd always win. The cabin had a high peaked roof, so I was able to make a room above the kitchen for my sister. It was really nice, but there was no staircase. So I put in a ladder that would extend down from the room for her to go up and down. Sometimes I'd lock her up there and she'd get so mad. We had fun talking to the children, taking the children to the movies or their favorite restaurant, the Shaft, which was all decked out like the inside of a mine with coal trucks, tools, and plates that were like pans they used to pan for gold. When Elijah walked out into a blizzard and saw snow for the first time, he frowned, looked up at me, and said, "What is this? What the hell is this?" I lied about his age to send him for ski lessons because I figured they really only cared whether he was potty trained or not. Plus, he was tall, so they couldn't tell the difference. He became a fearless skier like Chaz before him. Back at work at the start of 1980, I took my show to Europe and then all over the world. To fill my time, I started needlepointing again. Jean was still in my life, but we were rarely in the same city at the same time. So he asked me to consider moving to New York with the kids. We went house hunting together, and Jean picked an older building at Fifth Avenue and 64th Street opposite the Central Park Zoo. When he went back on tour, my architect was flown in from LA to create the perfect home, and I helped Ronnie Wilson do the interior design. But Jean's and my relationship was over by the time the apartment was finished. Our friendship, however, lasted for years. Life went on, and I was finally able to move into my Egyptian house in LA, which cost a fortune to build. It had actually sucked up my money faster than I could make it, on top of the $1.4 million I had to pay Sonny in settlement for not fulfilling all of my performing contract I'd signed before we split up. When I had broken the contract, we were on such bad terms. He was trying to take Chaz and prove I was an unfit mother. I couldn't imagine performing with him again. I didn't see any option besides backing forming with him again. Or no, I didn't see any option besides backing out. With all that money leaving my bank account, I found myself at the kitchen table looking down at Chapter 11 papers, not wanting to sign them. I didn't care how much better it was than bankruptcy, supposedly. While staring at the papers, my mom walked in to say, "I found a great house and put an offer in." "Well, you better hope they don't accept it because I don't have the money," I told her. I thought I was doing well. I didn't understand how I'd overspent so much. That's when Joe D told me, "There's something wrong. Your managers are making more money than you are." I thought to myself, so I didn't miscalculate and quickly got rid of them. But that's not what saved me from Chapter 11. Just as I was about to sign the papers, my new business manager called me. "Cher, you must be the luckiest person in the world," he told me. In a time when I'd had money for investments, I'd been advised to buy apartment buildings, but I'd since sold them to a man who was paying me by installments. Out of the blue, he suddenly decided he'd get a better tax break if he paid me in full. And that's what saved me. Thank you, God. I I vowed never to overextend myself like that again. Not that it stuck. I've been overextending myself in a million ways my whole life. The house was worth all the anxiety it caused. I was very happy there and threw a barbecue every Sunday for all our friends. I make a lot of different foods often. I'd make this fabulous dish that Jake taught me. Tomato Tomatoes, olives, cubed potato, mayonnaise, celery. It sounds horrible. and a few other things, and a salty seasoning called Beaumont. Another favorite was shredded purple cabbage with sour cream and Beaumont. All the boys would barbecue because that's what boys do. They barbecue. And who wants to do that anyway? One night while I was living there, my close friend Kate Jackson and I were having dinner in a Japanese restaurant off Mulholland, and we got into an argument about something, though I couldn't tell you what. I was getting myself worked up, really giving Kate a piece of my mind and punctuating each brilliant point I made with a shot of sake. It was the first time I'd ever have sake. And another thing I'd say, knocking one back, the sake didn't seem to do a thing to Kate, but when I woke up the next day, I wished I had it. I'd never been hungover before, and it was beyond excruciating, head pounding. I called my doctor, Arnie. I cried, "Can you die from a hangover?" Apparently not, but you could have fooled me. The kids loved the new house too. Elijah was still small, getting into mischief left and right. He was thrilled when Santa gave him one of those drivable electric cars for Christmas, and I explicitly told everyone at the house that he couldn't take it on our long driveway at all. One day, when he was zooming around, he saw me arriving home in my Jeep and excitedly drove to greet me, but there was no one there to stop him. He picked up too much speed coming down the hill and was heading straight for the Jeep. I very nearly ran over him and swerved at the last second, but he disappeared from view, and I was sure he'd gone under the car. I could hardly get out of the car. I was so scared and not sure whether he was alive or dead. I was afraid I cut his head off. He wasn't making a sound. I found him unharmed, having crashed into the wheel instead, which was my intention with turning the wheels once I realized we were going to collide. I lost my mind. I stormed inside, yelling at my staff, firing everyone within eyesight on the spot for not watching him. Shaking, I went upstairs, got into a hot bath, and started sobbing. That night, we were all supposed to go see the movie Mommy Dearest. Oops. And yes, later that afternoon, I rehired everybody. When I wasn't home, I'd bring the kids on tour with me. In Vegas, they'd have a great time hanging out with the crew, eating in the coffee shops, being by the swimming pool all day and staying up late. Being there made them feel like grown-ups, and wherever they went, my team and the staff at Caesars knew to keep an eye out for them. When I went on tour to places like Australia and South Africa, I'd go in the summertime so they could come along too. If we went in the winter, I'd still bring them, but I'd also take a tutor with us. It was an unconventional life, but it was the life that Lisha and Chaz knew. During a break from touring the show, I went on a mini tour for my rock album, Black Rose, and dated Les Dudek, who played guitar in the band. He was kind with a great sense of humor and a highly respected guitar player. He played for the Allman Brothers, helped Dickie write their song Jessica, and also played with the Steve Miller Band, Boz Scaggs, Mike Finnegan, and Stevie Nicks. I remember he had a black Porsche with a license plate that said F flat. And before I knew him, I'd seen it and asked around, "Who's the guy with the Porsche that says F flat?" Everybody knew, "Oh, yeah, that's Les Dudek." I had so much fun with him. My life was exciting and full. I had my two children I loved, my house I designed, a heap of success from three different TV shows and multiple world tours, my family of crew on the road, and for the first time, I was doing it with nobody to hold my hand and no net. Yet, as much as I loved California and my life there, I had this yearning for something more. I still wanted to pursue my dream of acting. With my show in Vegas, I was making money and making people happy. I was proud of that. When people asked the cab drivers what they should do, They'd always say, "Go to the Cher show." But I wanted my dream. I wanted to move people, to touch them, not just with my voice, but with my skills as an actress. I never stopped wanting to see if Jeff Corey and Rosalind Russell were right. Experience so far had shown me that no one would take me seriously. I felt stuck. Then I was just walking off stage one night, still blind from the bright lights, when I heard a voice cry, "Cher." I couldn't see who it was at first, but blinking, I finally saw it was Francis Ford Coppola. I was so happy to see the old friend who used to come to Sonny's and my house in Encino to play cards and have clam eating contests with 4 Oscars under his belt after both The Godfather and Apocalypse Now. He was a major player in Hollywood, and I couldn't have been prouder of him. A year earlier, I'd visited him at his Zoetrope Studios, described as the forerunner to DreamWorks because of its innovative idea to have writers, cinematographers, and directors working together under the same roof. We had such a magical couple of days, and he was so funny, taking me and his son Gio for a bike ride around the old 10-acre Hollywood General Studios lot on the corner of Santa Monica Boulevard and Las Palmas Avenue. Francis knew everyone's names, and as we rode, he played tour guide, pointing to different places and explaining what they were going to build there. He showed Gio and me the unbelievable set built on a soundstage for his movie One from the Heart, starring Natasha Kinski and my friend Terry Garr. Then we went back to his bungalow, and Francis had a meeting with Gene Kelly. So Gio and I sat in one of the back bedrooms just hanging out and talking. Gio showed me the new Walkman that Francis had gotten in Japan. After the meeting, we talked a bit longer before I had to go. Sitting together in my dressing room at Caesar's Palace, Francis and I reminisced. He told me how much he'd enjoyed my show, and then, after a brief pause, added, "Why aren't you making movies?" I almost burst into tears and thought, how are you seeing something in me that no one else does? Instead, I told him about the rejections I had for being too old, too ethnic, too tall, or too typecast. I was Cher of Sonny and Cher, made a punchline from my complicated personal life. I explained how producers and directors insisted I could only ever do TV comedy, never anything serious or real. Francis was sympathetic, but added, "The problem is that until you do something, nobody will believe you can. The worst that can happen is that you fail, but at least you've tried." I told him his advice reminded me of something Shelley Winters once said to me. "If you're really serious about acting, Cher, then stop fucking around and go to New York." Francis smiled. "Okay, then," he said. "So what are you waiting for?" All right, that is the end of the book. Let me show you some pictures. Ugh, I can't start that other book tonight because I'm afraid with all the let me get you a little higher for the pictures. I'm afraid with all the crying I've been doing, it's affected my voice, and I can't read with the proper inflection, which I'd like to for a novel, especially. So tomorrow, hopefully, will be better. Maybe make some tea tonight. Hopefully, don't cry as much. Um, I'm sorry if it bothered you. I'd really tried. Plus, with this microphone, I hope that helped. But Anyway, there was one more set of pictures. Oh, let me see if I missed anything. Zoom, you Zoomer Jerry. Great reading, thank you. Do you like how it feeling? What do you mean? Oh, pantyhose being barefoot. Like, yes, sometimes you gotta take your shoes off and kick back. Yeah, it feels better to start with shoes and take them off than if you had them off the whole time to begin with. Isn't that funny? Anyway, here we go. Some more. We'll share which ones I can of Cher. Sherilyn. Okay, here we go. These are the last ones that in the book. On the road with Chaz. Chaz in the sandbox. Keeping Chaz entertained on the road. She loved clowns. Oh, dearie me. Well, we'll see. Uh, Chaz and me after a swim at the St. Cloud house. Happy birthday, Mom and Soap, and Chaz conducting the orchestra. Okay, so you get the gist that these are like mom-daughter photos and a lot with a little baby Chaz. But really that was her life, like on the road and stuff, like with her baby. You really can see how much she loves her babies. Like, I don't know, I just like this photo. It reminds me of like my mom, you know. Maybe not with the whatever's on her face there. Clown, I guess. But oh, look at that one with the Indian braids. Oh, that reminds me of my mom. Okay. I wish she had bangs because my mom had bangs like me. Okay. 5 generations of Sarkeesians. Oh, you're gonna love this. There's a picture of her in the Playboy bunny outfit. Uh, Chaz and me working at the Playboy Club, and then on the floor at Muscle Shoals. Okay, so these are the Sarkeesian women and girls, I guess, because little Chaz is probably there too, right? But then look at it. Isn't that so adorable? She's a little with the pantyhose and the long hair. Oh, look at her cute little bunny tail. And there she is on the floor. That picture looks so like 70s. Okay. Next, we have Chaz's birthday with Joe D, Sunny, G as a clown, and me. Oh, she looks happy here. Oh, thank you, Jerry. Is that is that me you're hugging? Am I the where's my stitch? Thank you. Okay. So I guess that's Joe D, Sunny G, that's her sister. Uh, and then she looks so happy there. She's got such a beautiful smile. And holding Chaz. Okay, Polly and me at the Met Gala. This is a picture with that dress, but you really got to look it up in color. I don't know why she didn't include it in color. Well, maybe it is. Is it in this one? No. And then greeting fans at a music fair. So this dress right here at the Met. If you can look up this dress, and this is on the cover of Time because that's the one that John sent me with like the cover of the Time, I think, photo. It's just like knock your socks off gorgeous. But like she must have felt so confident that night wearing that dress. Like, yes, all eyes are on me. I really want to see that Bob Mackie documentary because he seems like such a sweetheart. Like he seems so full of like joy and creation and really like how do I say this? What do I want to say? Like, okay. What I realized is like, like in the trailer, you see how he created that iconic outfit for the curtain with Carol Burnett from Gone with the Wind, which is like so genius. But other comedic. Oh, thank you, Rob. Both of you guys. Why are you so sweet? Okay, so oh, you make my night. Um, oh, here, what it occurred to me is that's not just style or that's comedy. The costume itself, it's not just fabric. It's You're not creating just a garment. Like, it's funny because of you, Bob. Like, yes, Carol could wear it and do the skit, but like Bob, you to come up with that, you are funny. Like, that is like you almost not just should have an award for costuming, but that's creative writing. Like, that's creative idea, thought, like in word. Like, then you would like, I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but it's like a drama, I don't know, like, there's some very interesting videos out there of certain scenes of movies where the designer talked about, like, a certain dress, like, for instance, Keira Knightley's dress. Have you ever seen the film Atonement? Where she has this beautiful blue or green dress, and just the way that it fits her, and the way that she has to look just like in of the era too, just, like, divinely sexy to like, for him to write her that letter, Toby Maguire. But anyway, I've seen them talk about what went into designing this dress this certain way. Like, there's really a brilliance that goes so far beyond what I think is considered with, and because I'm not gonna give it for everything, like some piece of crap on Shein, like, "Yes, this is real brilliance," like, but in some things, it's deeper than in different ways. Like, this is comedy, and this is um art on a level that is better than things in museums, anyway. With Elton John, Bette Midler, and Flip Wilson during the taping of the Cher show. uh and then there's with Rod Stewart and Dolly Parton for Cher special, and then there's David Bowie and me. So here we go. So which one was right there? There's Rod Stewart. You can tell with his little striped shirt. And there's that Elton and Bette Midler there. They look so happy. And then Bowie. Okay. What else we got? Okay. With Bob Dylan singing All I Really Want to Do for David Geffen's birthday, Beverly Hills Hotel 1974. And then David and Aspen making deals. And then David and me, aren't we cute? This whole this whole series right here makes me so upset. What happened to David? Poor David on the phone. Oh, aren't we cute? What the fuck happened to David? Like, mm, like I appreciate that with the heroin addict that you got Elijah out of it. But think about the baby you could have had with him too. The three of you. Anyway, I'm sure I'm sure he found somebody lovely. It's just like, I don't get it. 'Cause if he was his first, like, love or first real relationship and she broke his heart like that, what if that left him in a state of, like, not being able to, like, trust women? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You gotta be, like, careful breaking people's hearts. Okay. Me, makeup bag in hand, leaving CBS. Halston and me and my Dino with Polly. I don't know what that means. Ange and me, G and me, Mom, G and me on Thanksgiving, and then Deb and me. So these look very late 70s and maybe even 1980. Like, you can see her look changing. There we go. It's these ones here. So look at with the hair. Doesn't this start to get more like that leather 80s? Like, even just like that this look here looks very 80s to me. This one, I don't know. That I think is that her G and then here with her mom. Okay. Then we've got I love this photo of Gregory. Oh, so is this gonna be this is the heroin addict. And then there's Gregory and me in Japan. And then there's pregnant with Gregory in Hawaii. And then there's with Gregory and Elijah 1 day old. Okay. She was with this guy. I don't know what the hell she saw in him. I really don't. Like, I gotta think she find him attractive or something. But like, I'm sorry. I gotta what about this guy? What is so anyway. No, I don't agree. His no, I don't. But okay. What is he even doing here? It's like looking for drugs off this table or something. Get a haircut. And lastly, Chaz and Elijah and Mr. I'm sorry, meet Dr. Teeth of the Muppets Electric Mayhem Band. Elijah and a furry friend. Oh, we're gonna see baby Elijah. He's like, yes. My babies. Chaz at 7, Elijah at 4 months. Bath time with Chaz, 1974. And you don't see anything. They're in the bath, but you don't see anything. So I'll show you. Elijah, Skeletor, He-Man, and me. Also, this is so cute. I just, I'm, there is something that gets me about little boys playing with toys. Like, I don't know. There's just something about, like, just the total innocence of it, of, like, playing with their toys. And this picture is like, "My ovaries, stop. I can't." Mhm. Like, when Terry told me he used to play with his mom's, like, cigarettes with his cards, like, "That's too cute." I don't know. But, okay, here we go. So so now you see the two babies. See them here? There he is, little Elisha. It's blonde hair like his daddy. And then that's actually what she has. Um, she looks so happy there. Oh, look at that. That's Chaz with the baby brother, and the brother looks so happy and like comfortable with her too. And then there he is with his toys, and I just love this picture. He's like, "And they play with me." Okay. All right. So we completed that book. Let me rest my voice tonight. Get our new book tomorrow. I'm sorry that I'm not reporting like super fantastic day. Maybe I'll stop at a thrift tomorrow and see if they have any games for us for Friday we could play. And you want to call in? Used to make most of your own toy figure. He was exciting and dangerous. It's not complicated. I mean, I guess you could say she has a type of like because look at Bill, guitar player, and that other guy that was a guitar player. Like maybe she prefers the musician side. Um, even Sunny, you could say was a musician in a way. Um, but to me, I don't care about like what's the sexual attraction. I'd rather have a guy with no dick at all that loves me. You get more pleasure from that relationship, sexual included, than a guy with like what's considered a good size. I don't know. Whatever golden peen of and how great could it be when the guy's like he's injecting himself. You could you could become in blood diseases, you're passing through partners, your pregnant wife here. Anyway, um, to me, it's just like, no. Like, anyway, 8 plus inches. I heard you tempted me to go find one of my that's hidden behind there, but that's That's for Saturday. That's for Saturday. I get the bigger ones when you guys are like, "Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try it in the butt." Who would have gotten along with David Beckham? Me? Me? You know what I like this, like I was saying, this end of the book is like she's saying she's doing her tour and she's realizing she's doing it without Sonny. So she's getting her confidence. And it's like, okay, like I'm in my 30s now. I got these kids and their dads, they work different jobs, so they're not always here. So I'm kind of the primary parent. And I got this. And I got enough money to like handle some employees and stuff. And it's like, where now she's going to get into the acting. And I would have loved in this book for her to get into some of the acting roles. I didn't know when Moonlight came out, but I was thinking, is it Moonlight that Coppola's? Because I know Nick Cage is in Moonlighting and um he's Coppola's nephew. So I thought, did he direct that or something? But they didn't get into that. But I like the spirit of not giving up, not being too late to try something else, and pursuing something that maybe you're afraid of. And fuck what people say. You only live once. Um try to see how far you can go. So anyway, we'll do part two. But new book tomorrow. Thank you so much for hanging out. Don't worry about me tonight. I'll be okay tonight. I'm looking forward to meeting with my doctor and he's getting this out to her how I'm feeling and see what her um advice or referral may be. But I mean there's no way around it. Like I'm having a hard time. Can you get my car back? Like, can I get some kind of a win here? Um that would be good. Um but you know what's a win? Getting my TV tomorrow from John. That'd be nice. Get that set up. That'd be nice. I'll look forward to that. I miss being able to like watch movies after the show. Moonstruck, sorry, why did I say Moonlight? You need me to take care of you. Yes, Jason. Make me a pizza right now. I'm hungry. Actually, you know what? Make me some ice. I could really use some ice. I would really like to make iced coffee. But also, I was up too early this morning, so I need to get good sleep. Have a good day tomorrow. And then tomorrow was Thursday, so we'll get a nice read in before Sunday. I'll be good. Okay. Stay warm. Or if you're in Los Angeles, stay the hell out of the fires. But know this, I'm fine. I'm in the desert here. So as far as right now, like we're good. So blessings still with that. Yeah.